Almost everyone builds their wealth backwards. They max out every retirement account, tie up every dollar, and then discover the hard way that they can't touch any of it when life sends them a big bill. There's a fix for this, and it sounds almost too simple. A securities-backed line of credit. Borrow against the position instead of selling it. No sale, no tax bill, and the investment keeps compounding while the loan just rides along. If this works so well, why doesn't your bank advertise it? And where does it actually break? I'm Carl Saz, the open source millionaire. My books are open. Every decision, the wins and the ones I take back, we build this strategy around what I call the golden goose. Here's the trap most good savers fall into. You do everything right. You max out your 401k, you fund the IRA, you buy the house, and then life sends you a bill. And you look around and realize almost all of your money is locked up. Retirement account you can't touch until 59 and a half without a penalty. Equity in the house you can't spend. You're asset rich and cash poor. And when that bill comes, you're forced into a bad choice. Sell investments and trigger a tax bill on top of the tax bill you're trying to pay, or borrow at a painful rate on a card or a HELOC. Both of those cost you twice. So what's the golden Goose? It's a plain, regular taxable brokerage account. All equities, nothing exotic, but it's the one account that isn't locked up. You can reach into it at any age for any reason without asking permission. And here's the part that makes it magic. You don't kill the goose to get the eggs. You don't sell it when you need cash. You borrow against it at a rate so low it barely registers, and you let it keep compounding while it doubles as your source of liquidity. Let me show you what that looks like over a decade. Same investor, same $1 million taxable account. Two very different decisions when they need $100,000 for a business deal or tax bill. Investor A sells $100,000 of stock. That sale triggers long-term capital gains, and the net investment income tax, say $18,000 to $23,000 in federal tax alone, even more with state taxes, gone forever. Plus, the $100,000 they pulled out is no longer compounding. Investor B borrows that same $100,000 against their portfolio using a securities-backed line of credit. Zero sale, zero taxable event. The entire $1 million account stays fully invested and keeps growing. 10 years down the road, assuming an 8% average market return, investor A lost over $100,000 in missed compounding on top of the initial tax check they wrote to the IRS. Investor B's portfolio grew uninterrupted to over $2.1 million, not because one earned more money, but because one understood how tax drag destroys growth and how to access money without selling out. Now, here's what almost nobody teaches. You build the goose by following an order of savings. Cash reserve first, then the free money, your 401k match. And then before you rush in to max out every other retirement account, build the goose. A taxable brokerage account, because it's the only money you can actually reach before you reach retirement. That's the piece the standard advice gets backwards. Your CPA is trained to tell you to sell and pay the tax because selling is the only lever they're looking at. If you lock every dollar behind age 59 and a half, you've built a fortune you can't touch when life actually happens. The goose is what keeps you liquid when everything else compounds in the background. Now let me answer the question from the top. Why doesn't the bank push this? Where does it break? Two reasons. First, let's talk about the downside. Because borrowing against your portfolio with a securities-backed line of credit carries real risk. If the market drops hard and your loan balance is too high against the account, you can get a margin call and be forced to sell at the worst possible time. That's the exact outcome we're trying to avoid. So this only works when it's sized conservatively and managed, not maxed out. Second, and this is the honest catch, the rate is everything. The whole strategy lives or dies on the borrowing rate. And here's the truth. Yes, you can open a brokerage account on your own. Anybody can. But the rate a retail investor gets on their own is usually nowhere near low enough to make this work. The genuinely low institutional rates come through an advisor who can negotiate them on your behalf. That's not a sales pitch. It's just how the plumbing works. It's a big part of what a firm like Verde actually does for you here. So that's the system. Build the goose in the right order. Keep it liquid. Borrow against it instead of selling it carefully at a rate that actually makes sense. And you'll never get trapped by another April 15th or another flooded basement again. If you want help building your own golden goose and getting a borrowing rate that makes this whole thing work, that's exactly what my team at Verde does. The link is below, along with the free guide for this series. I'm Carl Saz, open books, real decisions, your move.